Hello and welcome to my review of the Space Marines Primaris Firestrike Servo-Turret. Now, one of these models will set you back £21. It's an alright price actually for a Primaris Space Marine and a full turret. One thing to note is it is a push to fit kit, but it does have a couple of options in terms of the weapons, and it's quite a decent push to fit kit actually. First things first, let's look at the detail. So I haven't really glued that many parts onto it, which means yes, you can rotate it. You can spin the Firestrike turret if you so wish, which is awesome if you've got two of them, or if you've got one in game and you want it to aim at another enemy, you can just do that rather than picking it up and placing it, but it's up to you. It's a little gimmick, I guess, but it does change the look of the model slightly of where this little scenery piece is, which is optional. You don't need to plug that hole with that scenery kit. You can just green stuff over it and have it without without that. Let's have a look at the detail itself. So these are the plates. Not a lot of people know this, but this turret can move. It's got a 3-inch move. That was a surprise to a lot of people, but I immediately saw these repulsor plates, which look exactly the same as on the repulsor and the impulsor tanks and the Astraeus super heavy tank, and I kind of guessed that was the case, especially with this grav module here and the power supply. So there you go. It can move across the battlefield, obviously not as fast as the advanced weaponry that Eldar have. Whether it should or not, yeah, I'll leave that up to you. It kind of makes sense if it's on the repulsor plates. If they've been able to miniaturize the repulsor plate technology and put it in this turret, then yeah, why can't they do that for other units and vehicles and troops even moving forward? Who knows? Anyway, looking at the detail at this Primaris Space Marine, he's sort of quite covered there. There is a bit of a gap in the targeting matrix and the servo skull thing. He's linked in completely to this to his I want to say eye socket, but it's not. It'll just link into his optics. Quite strange that it has to link in like that. Also, what's strange is he's got his right arm. I don't know whether that is because his arm has been severed before and he's got like a replacement metal arm, or whether that is the interface. It seems a bit strange that you'd have to, you know, cut off your arm just to have this interface with this servo turret, and it also seems a bit strange that only these ones with that metal arm can connect to them. But all intents and purposes, he is a Primaris Space Marine, Tech Marine almost, because of the armour that he's got on. Slightly different than the normal Primaris. He's also got one of these data spikes. I guess the other one is hooked up into the turret itself, and this one's just swaying behind him. He's got a few readouts there, I guess, maybe some lights, a few buttons, and then the weapon itself. Now, I've equipped this one with the accelerator autocannons. Guess what? You can, because it's a push to fit kit, you can hot swap them. So you can take them out. Let's just zoom out a little bit because that's the focus is going a bit odd, but you can hot swap them. So you can take these out and then seamless link to the spare parts. Here are the las talons, and they just go in like so, and once they're painted they'll be able to slot in and pull out at your will. The only strange thing is sometimes you might get them a little bit like together or a bit apart or up or down. You might not get them in correctly first time. A bit of practice though, and that will resolve that issue. You'll know where to put them in quicker and faster next time. Moving forward then, you've also got the ammunition feeds. Now, I would say you can get away with that as it is. There's no real need to have this blast shield push to fit. I would glue the blast shield on and glue the ammo feeds. it's going to be perfectly fine. But if you didn't want to do that and you wanted to have it completely represented, then there is an option to pop off the blast shield and change the drum magazines with these energy banks, and then it would fit a line with the rest of the model. But the good thing is that they're quite well hidden behind the shield, and yeah, from that kind of distance view, no one's ever going to notice the difference, and I don't think anybody would have any issues whatsoever with you hot swapping these weapons. But it's really for your own peace of mind whether you can kind of deal with that, of having different ammo magazines to a different weapon. I will be gluing these autocannons into this turret anyway, because I will be getting another one at a much later date, and I just prefer this weapon being on a turret and not having a long distance movement speed. I'd rather have the 48-inch range and pump out more shots downfield than go for these 24-inch range. I don't know why Games Workshop did this. If they'd had the las cannons, if it had a twin link las cannon and twin link accelerator auto cannons, that would have been better. I don't know what their obsession with is for the Gatling guns and also these las talons. They're just inferior las cannons at the end of the day. I'd much rather them have the old las cannons. When was the last time they actually put anything out with las cannons on? Yeah, ask yourself that. I think they're trying to push the Iron Hail, the Gatling cannons and these las talons more than a lot of other weapons. Anyway, that's the model, they're the spare parts. Let's have a look at some size comparisons. So how does it compare to one of the other new push to fit models, the Invader ATV? Well, the Invader ATV is a small little Mario Kart of a model, but this is also push to fit, so technically you can take these arms off and put the different turret on. I haven't done that. I've got the Gatling cannon right here. Maybe I could put it on another vehicle. The Gatling cannon looks cooler, but rules wise, yeah, the multi-melter with the 2 shots now is fantastic. Anyway, the whole point of my comparison here was the size, and as you can see, they're a similar size, but the ATV costs a whole £5.50 more. However, it is on 2 sprues, yeah, I think overall it has more parts. But I thought that would be a decent sort of size comparison, the big turret next to the ATV. I wonder if Space Marines will get a much bigger one of these, like a quad-barreled or, a longer range weaponry. There's definitely scope for that now, isn't there? And also scope if Astra Militarum get some kind of mounted turret weapon. Anyway, compared to, I don't know, one of the new models, the Primaris Chaplin on bike, as you can see there. So this is a fair bit more expensive, but it's not push to fit, it is multi-part, but it is only monopose. So gives you an idea of how big the Chaplin is. Quite a big chunky Chaplin, chunky model, I like it. And then just comparing it with the usual suspects. So we've got a Legacy Space Marine on the left, Primaris on the right, and then Slime Marbo smack bang in the middle. As you can see, Primaris is, even on the base, if that makes sense, is a bit shorter. And just on the base, yeah, this turret has a fair bit of presence, and your opponent is going to spot one of them a mile off, especially if you've got like 3 of them or so. But yeah, completely dwarfs these normal Space Marines around it. Okay, and now you've come to my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Firestrike Servo-Turret. You'll find the Servo-Turret nestled between the Thunderfire cannon and the Hunter. In a way, it's kind of like a replacement to the Thunderfire cannon in some respects. The Thunderfire cannon has been heavily nerfed for the past few editions, and that is only a 60-inch range and a strength 4, but I will be going through the review of the Thunderfire cannon in the not too distant future as part of my coverage of all of the units in this Space Marine Codex. Let's talk about the Firestrike Servo-Turret then. It's a power points cost of a 6 and a points cost of 90. If you go for the twin las talon, you're going to have to pay an extra 40 points. So already that's, half the points cost on top of it. So you're looking at 130 points there for essentially a 24-inch las cannon. Of course it contains 1 model, but you can have 1 to 3. If this unit contains 2 models, it has a power rating of 12. If this unit contains 3 models, it has a power rating of 18. Each model is equipped with twin las talon. So that's a little bit odd, because essentially the way the points are written, means that it's 90 points. Even though it's written that it's got a twin las talon already, you then have to pay for the las talon before you then remove it and deduct it, which is, yeah, it's a strange way of writing the points cost. Anyway, the profile reads, it's a movement of 3 inches, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 5, 5 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8, and a save of 2+. Just let that sink in for a moment. It can move the same speed as the tracked turret, the Thunderfire cannon. Its ballistic skill is 2+. It's got a toughness of 5, it's got 5 wounds, and it's got save of 2+. So it's quite survivable. It doesn't have an invulnerable save. Now, the weapons themselves. Mine's equipped with the Twin Accelerator Autocannon. So it's a range 48 inches, heavy 6, strength 7, AP -1, and damage of 2. I really like the damage of 2. I like the long range, I like the 6 shots. The AP -1 is quite useful. You know, those 6 shots with the 2+, you've got a high chance of hitting things with them. You can equip it with the Twin las talon, which is a range 24 inch, heavy 4, strength 9, AP -3, and a damage of D6. You know, you could get a damage of 1, but you could also get damage of 6. The downside of taking the Twin las cannon is, of course, that range. If you're up against a foe like Tau or other Space Marines or Eldar, any other foe that has a longer range weapon, I don't know, like at 30 inches or more, they can target this thing and you just don't have a chance at returning any fire if it's equipped with the las talon. It's a difficult choice of what you're going to take for the main weapon, because you don't want to box yourself into a position where you're having to move 3 inches a turn, and if you've only got 4 turns, that's the 12 inches. If you're essentially 36 inches or further away from a target, you're never going to get there and be able to be in range with those las talons. So in a way, I'd treat it as like a choke point weapon or an aerial denial. If you want to hold an objective, move one of these within range with those Twin las talon and just cover that position. In my opinion, I don't think the strategy for this pays off for what you're getting in terms of the firepower, and even maybe more so the survivability of it. If it had other things such as rocket pods on the side, or 48 inch range strength 8 rockets mounted in silos on the side of this thing, that would have been brilliant. Having 2 weapon systems on this turret, one a backup missile launcher and the main turret weapon, that would force your opponent to deal with it. It says here any number of models can each have their Twin las talon replaced with 1 Twin Accelerator Autocannon. Abilities, it's got Angels of Death, of course. Keywords, Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Vehicle, Artillery, Firestrike, Servo-Turrets. So there you go. It's a model that I don't necessarily think Space Marines needed. I don't think it fits with their Angels of Death, surgical precision, fighting force way of war either. I think it is a bit of a step backwards. I can't get my head around why it even exists when Games Workshop are designing and putting out hover tanks. Let's just call them hover tanks. However, some of those hover tanks are still slower than the track vehicles, which is another video altogether. But like the bunker and like this turret, I'm not sure why Games Workshop are trying to turn Primaris into the turtling army, because it's a contradiction to all of the other assault focused units that they've pumped out, such as the assault intercessors and the blade guard veterans, and definitely the outrider squads with their multiple attacks. But what do you guys think? Am I onto something here? Do you think this is a strange change of direction for Primaris and Space Marines that Games Workshop are taking? Or have they run out of ideas and they're just now creating models that look cool, have a rule of cool, and appeal to people that want to buy cool looking Space Marines? I wonder if it's another case of creating a model that will sell well, rather than one that fits with the strategy and the whole lore of an army. Please put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, as always. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.